just that you disclose that you've got a conflict and, run the meeting and just not vote or discuss it, but just run the meeting for us if that would be acceptable.
Other comments?
Do we have enough to vote if Dan abstains? We have a large enough quorum? Yeah, okay.
Okay, that's how we'll proceed. And then second item to discuss before we start is we have 3 applications. They're pretty much the same, although we may have people here that want to speak against one of them or all of them. So Tate was thinking that we should tie them all together, but maybe we shouldn't. What are your thoughts?
I
guess I'd like to keep it
I don't have a
separate.
problem running concurrently, but I guess maybe that you could run the maybe Dan, you could run the public hearing concurrently, but vote on each one separately.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's do the public hearing together and then vote on them separate.
So individually or one at a time?
I would say public hearing concurrent and motions on each one separate. That way
Okay,
you've covered your bases.
individually and one at a time.
Right.
All right, here we go. Williams County Planning and Zoning Commission is called to order. Roll call, please.
Mark?
Here.
James? Brett?
Here.
Tate?
Here?
Eric? Dan?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Barry? Sherelle?
Here.
We have a quorum. We will proceed. Minutes from February 20th. What are your wishes?
I'll make a motion to approve.
And a second.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Item number 1. Michelle, the floor is yours.
Am I presenting all 3 of them right now? No, we're going to do one at a time. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I was understanding correctly. Okay, so the first one we have tonight is LU-0100-24. This is Matt with Apex Clean Energy on behalf of Homestead Wind LLC and Kurt Andre. They're requesting a conditional use permit to construct a temporary meteorological tower on the subject property. Subject property is located in the south half of the northwest, Government Lot 1, which is the northeast-northeast, and Government Lot 2, which is the northwest-northeast of Section 4, 157 North, Range 102 West, which is Bone Trail Township. We did send out township comment packets via USPS to the township officers, and we never received anything back from them. So they are requesting the conditional use permit, which will construct an approximately 60-meter tall meteorological tower in the northeast corner of the subject property. Property is currently within the agricultural zoning district. The tower will be secured by multiple guy wires that will be looped through an anchor eye, then secured with 3 wire rope clips. Purpose of this tower is to provide wind characteristic data to the applicant to be studied for future potential wind energy growth in the area. The applicant has a current signed lease agreement with the landowner with a 5-year term and with options to extend if more data is needed. Tower will be placed approximately 285 feet from the outside parcel boundary lines. These towers are meant to be temporary in nature to gather information, and once the tower is no longer in use, it will be decommissioned. Access to the subject property will be taken off of 72nd Street Northwest.
Any questions for Michelle? Okay, I'll open the public hearing. Any comments from the public on this first item? Anyone wish to speak to this issue? One more time, third and final time. Anybody wish to speak to this application? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing, refer it to the board. Matt, is there any comments that you want to make? Yes, please do.
Homestead Wind project, and I submitted the CUP applications for all three of these. The Met Towers that we're looking to install here are the exact same as the two that we have already had operating here in the county since 2016. They are temporary in nature. There's no foundations. They're a tilt up in nature. They piece together, and then we use a winch to raise them up in the air. They stay under 200 feet tall to stay within FAA regulations. There's no electricity or sewer or any other types of utilities connected to it. It's got a small solar panel that provides enough of the energy to collect the data that is distributed. It gets wind speed, wind direction, wind density calculations, and we monitor that and use that. One of the key reasons that we're putting in new ones, the two that we have generated a tremendous amount of data for us, which is good. Our eventual goal here is to sell the energy that's produced by this wind farm. We'll eventually need to get construction loans. It's very expensive to build a wind farm, as you can imagine, and lenders require additional data to confirm that the data that we already have is sufficient to support lending the relatively large amounts that we need. So that's why we're putting up 3 new ones. We're looking to go towards submitting a county permit to build a wind farm later this year. So this is kind of how that timing usually goes.
Anything further?
No, sir.
Maybe there'll be some questions for you. Please stay up here if you would.
I guess that was one of the questions I had. The two that we had approved earlier, are they still operational or have they been decommissioned? Or
Larry Jacobson's is still up and operating. Ron Miller's is up, and we are looking to take that down later this year. It'll be decommissioned, which again will just involve lowering it to the ground, and we'll move it to another location.
Other questions?
I can't remember back to the other
Question?
ones, but what was the footprint on those? You don't disturb too much the land with the
It's about
tower?
an acre if you include where the guy wires come down.
Matt, if we snag one of them, whose problem is it?
It's our problem.
Good answer.
All the liability is ours. We work very closely with our landowners here. They're all participating members in Homestead Wind. The locations are really based on their obvious desire to have them as far out of the fields as possible. And then we set back from roads or anything else 1.1 times the tip height. So it's around 200 feet. So we say at least 220 feet away from anything.
Other questions?
These aren't
Question,
fenced
Dan?
then, they just,
I'm sorry?
they're not fenced.
No, there's no, we sometimes there's, for example, Larry's has a small fence around it just to keep the cattle away from the base of it, but we don't install any fencing around it. Again, that would just create more of a disturbance in the field, so.
Tate, did you want to ask a question?
I did. Yeah, my question is, so is this the beginning of gathering the data to put up an actual wind farm itself? That at the point when you do gather that data for a wind farm, you have to come in for another SPU for the wind farm itself?
Yes, that's correct. This is not the beginning of our collecting of the data because we do have the 2 previous CUPs for the Met Towers. This is a continuation of that data gathering. As I said, we've got a lot of studies going on this spring and into the summer. We'll be doing geotech, additional cultural and agricultural studies out here, and begin designing where our actual turbines are going to go and collection systems and additional roads. When we have that design finalized and approved with landowners, we will then submit our CUP into Williams County for actual construction of the wind farm.
Michelle, is there anything you wanted
Okay.
to add to that?
No, he pretty much stated it. They will come back before, just as they are here tonight, for the actual wind farm with their design, their layout. We will reach out, just like we did for this, any landowner within a mile radius of the project as a whole, as well as any township that it affects.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
Question, Dan, one more question, I guess.
Please.
Okay, does because of the substantial tax credits you guys get for putting these type of towers up, does that depend on the federal policies in DC and what happens with our Congress? Do they have an influence on what you're doing and how it works and
just to be
the
clear, we're
impact it
talking
has on our region?
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. Just to be clear, we're talking about two separate things here. This COP is just for the Met Towers. They don't generate any revenue. They're just data collection. And as we said, we already have two up. As we talk towards the larger wind farm that we will be looking to permit, tax credits they're not affecting how we'll build this project or whether or not we will build this project. There's nothing that's happened politically in the state or federally that will stop us moving forward with a project like this. So we're full steam ahead. We're going to be spending significant amount of financial money out here with the studies we have to do, and we're going to continue down that path.
I
other questions?
appreciate that, but I guess I do then to follow up with that though. When you're out attempting to sell this to another owner or a developer or whatever you call them, an investor, would the tax credits would they not be advantageous to your project?
Well, tax credits would certainly be advantageous. We are not looking to sell this project. Apex Clean Energy is an independent energy provider, so we will look to own this project going forward. If any type of incentive that makes more financial sense for the project, we'll pursue as any company would. So tax credits are part of that, but they're not the end all be all of if we'll have this project or not.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else? I had one phone call from a neighbor that wanted me to ask this question, and that is, Matt, why here? Why in an area where we have more natural gas for energy than we can consume? Why this location for wind towers?
Right. Our company's philosophy is all the above energy, and I know that's the way our country has been headed as well. North Dakota has some of the best wind resources in the entire country. Williams County is phenomenal. Where we have located this project is based on some of those best wind resources that we've seen anywhere on any of our projects. So it makes it ideal for this. We've had tremendous local support from landowners. We've signed over 38,000 acres in this area, all contiguous. So from all points of view from us, it's a great project. It makes perfect sense to do it here. So we're excited to move forward with building it and working with the county to build a great project.
Thank you. Last time. What are your wishes?
I'll make a motion to approve with staff comment.
I'll
Is-
second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
George,
Aye.
Mark,
Yes.
Dan. Sherelle,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
and Tate.
No.
I'll vote present. Okay, number 2.
Okay, so this second one is LU-0101-24. Again, Matt with Apex Clean Energy on behalf of Homestead Wind LLC. And this one is also with Marlis Hoff, Ivan and Alice Hoff, Natalie Hoff, and Karen Hoff-Brook. This is located the northeast of Section 27, Township 157, North Range 103 West, which is Strandell Township. We did not receive comment back from Strandell Township on this particular project, but I know that they have been in contact with the township as well. This is going to be exactly the same thing. The 60-meter tall meteorological tower in the northeast corner of the subject property. Property is in the agricultural zoning district. Tower will be secured by the multiple guy wires and looped through the anchor eye, then secured with 3-wire rope clips. Again, approximately 285 feet from the outside parcel boundary lines. Access to this particular one is taken off of 68th Street Northwest. Can we change the bookmark?
Okay, any questions for Michelle? Are those hand signals for me?
No, I'm signaling. Yep, that's the one. Thank you.
Okay, if there's nothing, no questions for Michelle, I'll open the public hearing. Anybody wish to speak to this issue? Please come forward, state your name for the record if you would, sir. Oh, I'm sorry, what happened to ladies first?
Hi, I'm Lane Larson. I'm both a resident in Strandall and also the clerk treasurer for Strandall Township. One is we never did receive the packet.
I think that it went to the other Lane Larson when the auditor's office, the email that they had provided our office was, because you're S-O-N or E-N, and they provided one that was S-O-N, so I think it was a man in Texas who has been getting them, and I found out late last week. So that may be,
Okay.
yes.
So that's one of the items is we never received it to provide comment back. But generally the comment would be that there would be Sam is here as well, who's the resident that is located to the south there where you see kind of the cursor. Yep, right there. And so, I mean, he's the one that lives there closest. But I guess one thing I would make a comment in regards to this item is the township itself we have voted and approved at our township level a setback of 1 mile for wind towers, that is, within our normal meeting process. That being said, this is not a wind tower itself, obviously, but what it does is allude to the fact that that could potentially be where a wind tower goes. So from the perspective of, or at least mine anyway, is that obviously planning and zoning would have to agree to what the township said, and hopefully that would be the case, that they would take into account the residents that actually live there. And that's what the township's trying to protect, is the ones that live there, the ones that participate there. And also, obviously, they've got great support through people that are landowners themselves. But the problem is that the ones that sign up a lot of times do not live there at all. They're either outside the township, outside the state, so on and so forth. Obviously, this specific issue is more around the individual tower. But I think more in case to point, what I'm trying to say is that ties to the wind towers in theory. And that is within the mile setback from a residence in this scenario. Open to, another location within Strandall that meets that requirements. Personally, I don't think that's an issue, but it's definitely, Strandall's point of view is the concern of noise, the view, and everything else, and that's why we're trying to protect our residents with that setback that we had set.
Any questions for the gentleman? Thank you.
Thank you.
We will certainly keep that in mind when and if it comes to the, on the next go-around. Okay? Now, young lady, please.
My name is Desiree Arnson. I am a resident that is within a half mile there that Lane was talking about. I submitted a comment letter. I don't know if you guys had a chance to read it in the packet. Do you want me to read it out loud?
You certainly could, for the
Okay.
record.
Before I do that, I do want to state that Sam, my husband, found out today that Divide and Burke County have a 3 and 4 mile setback from any dwellings. Dear Planning and Zoning Commission, we are writing you this letter to express our concerns for application LU-0101-24 that is being presented today. The suggested location of this meteorological tower is approximately half a mile from our farmstead where we reside. We often take walks on the gravel roads with our dog and child take in the wildlife and beautiful prairie landscape. We will no longer be able to do that to the northeast of our farmstead due to the construction and or placement of this proposed tower. We feel there are less intrusive locations for this tower to be constructed. We would like to know if the following was done and or considered when choosing this location of northeast of section 27, 157 north and range 103 west of Strandell Township for the meteorological tower. Was there an impact study done to see how this would affect the various wildlife that uses the location for habitat? Was there an environmental study done on the impact it would have on the cropland located there? How would it affect the productivity of the land when it is taken down since it is temporary? Was there better locations that were not considered for this tower? Will there be remediation on the soil after the tower has been dismantled? Was a study done to see how long it would take for the soil to return to its original state? Why was this location selected? How long is temporary? Is it 1 year, 5 years, or as long as they need to study the wind for the potential placement of wind turbines? Will there be compensation to us, the farmers who farm the land, for the loss of revenue from the cropland since we will no longer be able to farm that piece of soil? Will there be compensation for seed that was already purchased for that location of the field this year? Will there be compensation for chemicals already sprayed on the field last fall for this year's seeding? What will have to be built for access to the tower since there aren't any approaches nearby? Where will that be constructed? What will be used for the construction of the access point? An example, culverts, soil types, and base material. What type of base material will be used on top of the soil for the project where the tower will be located in the surrounding area? Will there have to be cement poured into the soil to hold down anchor points for the cables holding up the tower? And how tall is the tower going to be? Drawings show approximately 197 feet, but the township letter the county supposedly sent out says 60 feet. And when will construction begin and end? Spring seeding will begin in approximately 5 to 6 weeks for us. Harvest will begin the second to last or last week of July. And as you see, there is a tight window for construction to take place. In between seeding and harvest, there will be spraying, and you can't have any personnel outside working while we are spraying the field. As you have hopefully read in the leases, they are vague and open-ended. Apex Clean Energy has the ability to do whatever they would like pertaining to wind energy. The only local checks and balances are us residents and the county. And we recommend you do not allow the construction of this meteorological tower to take place in the northeast of Section 27, Township 157 North and Range 103 West of Strandell Township in Williams County.
Thank you. Any questions for Desiree? Matt, do you want to attempt to answer those questions, please?
Thank you. And thanks for the comments. Appreciate getting input from local folks. I think there's always maybe some misunderstanding to what we're doing and how we do it. So it's always a great opportunity to be able to explain some of these things and maybe demystify what this process is. So Mr. Larson, just a couple things. The 1 mile setback, I know the county has a 1,400 foot setback from occupied residences. In our leases and in our plans, we have upped that to 1,600 feet. We find that to be just a better way to build a project. So just to note that. Regarding non-residents, there are many folks who live within our project area, who reside there, who are participating and fully supportive of this project. Related to noise, just again, this is a Met tower. It doesn't move, it doesn't make any noise, it's not mechanical. It just has very small sensors on there that collect data. So there's no noise that comes from the Met tower whatsoever. I can go through some of these here. Again, I think a lot of these questions can be answered kind of quickly. The Met tower is a simple tilt-up structure. There's no excavation. There's no dirt that's brought in. There's no dirt that's brought out. There's a small anchor metal platform that goes on the ground. We tilt it up and then anchor it in on 3 sides with guy wires. So there is no constructed road to it. We don't have any access from the road. I went out to one yesterday on Jacobson's. We just walk out into the fields or drive if it's that time of year. Related to a lot of these questions about environmental impacts and how it'll affect the ground, there is no impact whatsoever to it. We're in the process of doing several environmental studies for the actual wind farm, which is a lot of these might be the questions where that would come up, but not really related to the Met Towers. It's also important to note that related to compensation, those issues, this is on private land. We have a contract with the landowner. We compensate them. If the landowner wishes to compensate or negotiate with renters, has nothing to do with us. So this is a fully voluntary process doing the Met Towers, and it's paid to the landowner. So I think maybe that answers most of the questions. There will be no remediation required because there's no earthwork. We selected this location. This said because there's a Met Tower doesn't mean there'll be a wind tower there. We're just getting data from different parts of the overall area of interest. So whether or not there's a tower there, it really has zero impact on if there would be if there's a Met Tower, it does not at all indicate that there'd be a future tower there. Is it temporary? These will be up until we start construction, thereabouts, and then they'll be taken down, which we expect to happen hopefully within the next couple of years, within 2 years. So that was compensation. We talked about the approaches. There, again, with the soil, a lot of questions about the soil. There's been no need to impact anything related to the soil. There's no cement being poured. It is about 197 feet tall, which is 60 meters. I believe that's probably what the county set out, not 60 feet, but I'm not sure. But it is 60 meters, which is 197 feet. And for the construction of these, we come out with the crate, our contractors unload it, put it down on the ground, set it up, tilt it up. It's done in a few hours. So it doesn't impact any of the farming other than that day. And again, that's, on the private land of the landowner. So they're aware of our schedules.
Any questions for Matt? Okay, thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Bob, would you like to come up and speak? Even though we all know you, please state your name for the record.
My name is Bob Arnson, and I'm chairman of Strandell Township. From what I'm hearing today, and I have visited with Matt, and it seems to me like they're not really concerned with the residents of the townships. I'm gathering from what he's been saying, they're gonna do what they want, when they want, and how they want to do it. So, is there a point that we're gonna tell them enough is enough? They just kind of come into our country and do whatever they want to. From the other night visiting with Matt, I kind of gathered when you guys come in to put these wind towers up, the roads are yours. It didn't seem like there was a lot of respect for people who are using these roads, because you said, here we come. So I know we are progressing along with this country, and wind energy one of them? Dan made the comment about all this natural gas we have, and we're not using it to its full potential. And that is already here. There's nothing we can do about it. But these wind towers are coming in to generate this extra energy, and we still have time to do something about this. So I'd like the board to think about this, where we're heading in this county. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Any questions for Bob?
Yeah, Bob. Are you in the project or not?
Nope, I didn't sign up.
Around your land?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Any other questions for Bob?
Have you guys seen the map, how this is supposed to be laid out?
No, we have not. Unless it was in the packet, we have not.
You have not, okay. Well, another thing Matt was talking about, 38,000 acres. Well, I've been studying the map after I saw it the other night. And there could be one wind tower on a section of land from what I saw on the maps, and they're including the whole 640 acres. So it's only beyond 160 acres. So I'm wondering, why is this map all red when there's people who hasn't signed up for it? So I'm wondering, are they taking all these extra acres and adding it up to 38,000 acres to make your acres look good? I don't know. To me, the map I saw It could be a third to a half of the people didn't sign up for it, but they're taking in the full amount of acres. So 38,000 acres looks pretty darn good.
Bob, would that include the full amount of wind then also?
Probably. Probably. If that wind is coming off of my quarter.
I just wanted to check with you.
Maybe we should start charging you for the wind. Maybe we should reverse this thing back.
We're certainly paying landowners for that wind.
No, that wind's coming off of my land.
Well, we've strayed a little bit off the subject because we're talking about the first step, but it's still relative because we know what the second step is.
Right, exactly.
Thank you, Bob. Anybody else? Anybody else wish to speak tonight for this one? Please, Matt.
Do a couple things there. And thanks for letting me come and talk to the township last night. It's unfortunate to hear that you think that the idea was that we don't care about folks that are not involved. That's the exact opposite of what I was trying to accomplish last night and what we try to accomplish in general. I know not every single person that's out there is for the project, so we'd like to sit and listen to folks, hear what their concerns are. I know that Bob and other tenant farmers are very concerned about how this will impact their farming operations with the roads and the turbines that we construct. I'd like to sit with folks and try to explain how we try to deal with that. We've built many of these, and we know the issues that can arise from it. The roads, we know that the roads are the number one concern of folks, especially at the township level. And one of the main things we spoke about last night was the ways that we go about to protect those roads, the amount of money that we spend to upgrade them and to make sure that we leave them in as good or better condition afterwards. Spent a lot of time talking about the road use agreement that we'll need to have with the county and the requirements that go into that, including bonding. We have signed up 38,000 acres, so I'm not sure the confusion there. We have 38,000 acres signed to this project. That's land that we have within the project. So I just wanted to clear that up a little bit.
Thank you. Desiree, something else?
Yeah, I would like to comment on the no construction being made. The only approaches to this field is along our driveway there on the south end. And then to the north up there in the corner, in the north west corner, along 68th. So I'm not sure where they don't think they're gonna have to make an approach. You're gonna have to drive across the whole field, which is gonna be seeded.
I drove up there, and if you look at the packet, the very first picture in the packet, I am parked on the road that goes south, and the road that, like, right at the corner where the road goes south to go towards there, where they would take in to get to their home, and the road that runs along. So 60th Street Northwest, like, right, the
Like here.
intersect in the corner, up right by where the number 27 is. That's approximately the location of where the tower will be. Correct. That's exactly where it's going. I know on other projects, looking back, they did not build approaches and they were not needed. I don't know if that makes any difference with the other Met Towers that were already approved in prior years.
Anything else? Sir, please come forward, state your name for the record.
My name is Randy Miller. I am a contract right-of-way agent here in Williams County in the area. And for 12 years, I've been doing right-of-way work, primarily, well, almost exclusively for oil and oil-related projects. And Apex approached me about 3 years ago to help with their project. Of the 38,000 acres that are leased, I probably did 2/3 to 3/4 of those. one of the things that's different is that the oil companies that I've worked for typically want it done last week. They're like, yeah, we already told you about that. How come you don't have easements for this pipeline or this site or whatever? So it was a very different mindset for me in that Apex is like, no, chill, just present it to the landowner, let them see if they've got an interest. If they are, we'll go forward. And for me, I had to go from high gear all the time to snail's pace because these guys want every landowner to feel comfortable with what's going on before they move forward. And after this Met Tower, when they come back for permitting, it's my understanding that, if a landowner was designated to get a wind turbine and for some reason they've changed their mind, I believe that they can opt out right up to the very end. So the actual landowners have an awful lot of latitude as to what goes on with this project. And I dealt with the Hoffs who own this land, and I've talked to them. They actually have pretty substantial acreage in there. And I don't need to get into their personal story, but for health medical reasons, this payment is going to help them deal with a number of personal issues if they do get a turbine on their land. And that's true of a lot of the landowners. I think I have 130 different landowners that are part of the project, something like that. And, if the wind project gets built, it will be a big tax increase for Williams County and the townships that participate. And as Matt said, this country is in need of energy. And yes, natural gas, oil, hey, I'm all for it. Been working it for 12 years and actually much of my life before that. But we also need nuclear, in my opinion. We also need wind if it becomes available, because if not, here's what happens. You're buying electricity as a consumer right now on the cheap. And if the resources for electricity dwindle down, well, it's a commodity, and so somebody's got to pay more. The big corporations don't have any problem. Yeah, we'll pay more, we'll pay more, we'll pay more. It's the little guys out here that are like, man, I can't even afford to run my toaster anymore because the price of electricity's gone so high. So I'm of the opinion that this project, if it should go forward, is actually going to be good for Williams County and the state of North Dakota. That's all I've got.
Any questions for Randy?
Thank you.
Randy, just one quick one.
Yes, sir.
At which point do we get our electricity for free?
Well, not technically free, but if you would drilled a geothermal well and set up a converter, you could probably get electricity for darn near free. Or you could buy your own solar panels and you could almost get electricity for free after you pay the panels back. But other than that, I'm not aware of any plans.
I may be a little too conservative for that.
Okay.
Thank you, Randy.
Anything? Okay, thanks.
Any other comments?
Bob Einen, and much like Mr. Miller, I spent 30 years working in the oil field doing right-of-ways and easements and stuff with farmers. I also own land in Williams County. A statement that's been made here is very concerning to me, is that we deal with the landowners. The problem with that is that a lot of farmers rent from those landowners, and they have an impact by your operations. And I understand it'll be in the second phase, but it puts them in a very uncomfortable position to try to go back to the landowner and get compensated for damages or problems that they had with the operation, because their livelihood is farming the land, and they don't want to put themselves in a position where they would lose their lease on that farmland because of an issue that may have come up with the wind tower. I did a seismic project once, and very similar to what Apex is doing, we dealt with the landowners. I suggested to the seismic company that we go out and make a token payment to the people that were farming each quarter. I can't remember what amount of dollars we gave to the person that was farming it, so that if there were some cables left, or there was some cleanup, or they had to spend a day doing something that we had forgotten, that we at least acknowledged that they were there and they were operating on that land, and we didn't put them in that uncomfortable position that they had to go back and deal with the landowner and possibly lose their farm lease. What happened when we did that was we had tremendous cooperation with the people that were out there farming that land. When they got a seismic truck stuck, they said it was amazing. The farmer unhooked his tractor, quit seeding, and went over and pulled him out and helped him in every way. So to have an attitude that we are just dealing with the landowners, to maybe consider the people that are out there farming, will make your project go much smoother. Thank you.
Hang on for questions, Bob. Any questions for Bob? Bob, one quick question for you, because you know more about Williams County and the landowners than probably anybody else in the room. What percentage of the farmers do you think, well, the heart of my question is the percentage of people who are farming the land versus the percentage of the people who are just own the land and are getting their checks from in almost every state in the nation?
Well, it's a small percentage that farm it, yeah. But, and the other thing I found from many years dealing with farm landowners and farmers up in this part of the country, whether it's this meteorological tower or anything that you do in conjunction with this wind farm, you may have a contractual agreement that you can go out on somebody's land and operate. But the minute you don't pay respect to that guy that's sitting down in that yellow house like the Arnsons there and tell him you're going to be out there that day doing it, they understand you have a contractual right to go out there and enter that land. But you'll never get back to square one where they trust you and that they work well with you. So I think it's imperative that they try to form those relationships on day one rather than come in front of the commission here tonight and say, we deal with the landowners, we have a lease. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Mr. Chairman, all due respect, we're completely off track of what we're supposed to be doing tonight. The wind farm isn't in front of us. All we're looking at is Met Towers. I believe that's what we should be looking at here instead of trying to get, when they come in for a wind tower, all this stuff can be brought up. All we're doing tonight is looking at a Met Tower, in my opinion.
Thank you, Mark. I disagree with you, and only part of that is the fact that we're public servants. Any other comments?
If I can, one more time.
Quickly, please.
Just to try and set the record straight a little bit. By no means, I hope I didn't leave the impression that we don't care about who the tenant farmers are. With all the folks that we've dealt with that have tenant farmers, it's been a major point of discussion with all of them. Many of them have added the tenant farmers into the lease as notification requirements when we come out to do studies. We notify all of the landowners when we're going to be coming out onto the property. And just to clarify my compensation earlier, we provide crop damage and compaction payments immediately if we have to come out and damage any of those. And the landowners typically just have that assigned directly to the tenant farmer, so it goes directly to them. So just to clarify that point.
Thank you. Any other comments? Final time. We'll close the hearing and turn it over to the commission, to the board. How would you like to proceed?
I'll make a motion to deny this one.
Is there a second?
Again,
Thank you, Tate. Further comments? Further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
George,
Yes.
Mark,
No.
Sherelle,
No.
Brett,
No.
Tate.
all right,
Present.
We have to, I believe, have a positive outcome on, that's how we've had to do it before, positive outcome on approve or deny. So we'd have to get another motion on the table.
Yeah, what was the count?
3-2. 2 to 3 to
So the motion,
deny the denial, and 2 to approve the denial is how I understood it.
Okay.
So
The
it
point you're making is
failed.
we need a positive, we need a
Correct.
positive motion.
Yes.
Okay? Anybody wish to make another motion?
Move to approve with staff comments.
Second.
Roll call.
George,
No.
Mark,
Yes.
Sherelle,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Tate,
No,
and Dan abstains.
Present. Next item.
Excuse me. So this last one tonight is LU-0102-24. Same applicants. This one is with BCD Farms, Inc. And it is located in the southwest of Section 16, Township 156, North Range 103 West, which is Bull Butte Township, and they did recommend approval on this project. Like the others, this is the 60-meter tall meteorological tower. This one, however, unlike the other ones, will be in the southwest corner of the subject property. It is zoned agricultural, same setup, 280 feet high, 285 feet from the outside parcel boundary lines. Access to the subject property is taken off of 151st Avenue Northwest, which is also known as County Road 5.
Okay? Any questions for Michelle? Open the public hearing. Any comments? Anybody wish to speak to this one? Third and final time. Close the public hearing. What are the wishes of the board?
hey, Dan, I do have one quick question, just for
Please.
clarification, if I could. This one, the township actually approved, correct?
Correct, they did.
I have the sheet, I just want to make sure I'm reading that correctly. Okay, thank you.
Which township?
Bull Butte.
Bull Butte.
Thank you. What are the wishes of the board?
Motion approved with staff comment.
And second? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
George,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Sherelle,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Tate,
Yes,
and Dan abstains.
Present. Anything further? Old business discussion items, next meeting, April 17th.
Correct.
Thank you, everybody, for coming in tonight. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
thanks, Dan, I appreciate running it, thank you.